Hello everyone and welcome to 30 Days of Java. It's day 19 now and today we'll be discussing about file handling in Java. In this video, we'll learn how to read from and write to files in Java. We'll explore FileReader and FileWriter for this purpose. And we'll also discuss the advantages of using BufferedReader and BufferedWriter. So let's get started. So far, we have been using the scanner class to get input from users and display the result on the console. However, in real-world scenario, you might need to store program results in a file or database, or retrieve the data from various sources like file or database or from an API response. This is where file handling becomes crucial. In this video, we'll focus specifically on reading and writing to files. The basic approach to file handling in Java follows these 4 steps. First, you need to specify the file you want to read or write. This can be done by providing the file path as string or by creating a file object. Once you have the file path or file object, you need to open the file for reading or writing. Then you can read its content or write to it using various methods provided by file input stream or BufferedReader class. After completing your work on the file, it is important to close the file stream to release system resources. This is done using the close method. The first approach for file handling uses FileReader. In this code, we are first specifying the file path as input file and output file strings. Then, in the first try-catch block, we have created a FileReader object which reads from the file character by character by using .read method and prints out every character on the console. In the second try-catch block, we are using FileWriter object to write to the file via .write method. And then we are finally closing the stream. Now let's try this out on IntelliJ. Now to understand how file handling works in Java, we'll first need to create a file. For that, I'll go back to my C directory and inside a temp folder, I'll create a new text file. And I'll name this as test file. Inside this file, I'll type in hello from GoldenCat and I'll save it. Now let's close this. Now I'll also copy its path, that is C temp, and then inside our main function, I'll declare the path of this file as a string variable. So I'll type in string path equal to then the path of the file, that is testfile.txt. Now always remember, whenever you are using the path of a file in your local storage, you'll need to use double backward slashes instead of a single one, because a single backward slash represents an escape character, whereas a double backward slash represents a literal backward slash. Now that we have the path of the file available, we'll create a try block to catch one. This catch block, I'll simply pass in ex.printStackTrace. In the try block, I'll create a new object of FileReader type, and inside its constructor, I'll pass in the path of the file. Now that we have the FileReader object available, I'll type in while and also create a new variable int character. Inside this while condition, I'll type in character equal to FileReader.read not equal to -1, then system.out.print, then character, and we'll also explicitly cast it to a char type. Now let's first understand what is happening in our while condition here. In this condition, we are using the FileReader.read method to read the file one character at a time. So if I open my file again, FileReader.read method would read the file as first H, then E, then L, then L, then O, and so on. Now let's close this. Once it reads the character, it assigns its ASCII value to character integer type. And then in our next line, we are simply explicitly casting that ASCII value to a char data type so that it becomes a character again and outputting it into the console. Now this FileReader.read method would also return -1 back once it reaches the end of the file. That gets assigned to character variable, and that ends the loop. Now let's run this program. And you can see in the console, it printed out hello from GoldenCat, that is the content from the file. Now one thing that we forgot to add here was closing the file stream after using it. So we can do that by writing FileReader.close, and this closes the file stream. Now this is a pretty important step because it keeps the resources loaded even when they are not being used anymore. But it is easy to forget to place it here. So for that, in Java 7, they have introduced a new thing called try with resource. So what you can do here is after try, we can put a parenthesis and then declare this FileReader object inside of it. After that, we don't need to close the file stream ourselves. It does that automatically for us. So I can remove this without any problems. Now that we have read the file, now let's try writing to it. For that, I'll create a new try catch block. And I'll use the try with resources again. I'll create a FileWriter object this time. And I'll pass in the path variable again into its constructor. Now I can call the FileWriter.write method to write something to the file. So I can type in how are you doing. Now if I run this program and go back to my test file, you can see that it wrote the how you doing message into the file. But there is a problem with this approach. It also overwrote the existing content that was there in the file. That was hello from GoldenCat. Now there is a very easy fix for this problem. So let's put hello from GoldenCat here back again and save it. Now in my code, in the FileWriter constructor, I'll give it another argument and give it the value of true. Now this loads the FileWriter object into append mode, as you can see here. Now if I run this program again and go back to my test file, you can see it didn't override the message into the file, but it appended it. That is how you're doing. This is how the FileWriter and reader works in Java. Now let's see how BufferedReader writer works in Java. For that, I'll remove everything that is there. And in my temp folder, I'll rename this file as input file and then create another text file that is output file. Now let's place this in a new line and add some more into it. I'm fine. Having today. Well, now let's save this and go back to our main program. Now that we have two files here, I'll provide the path of those files into two variables. I'll type in string input file path equals to p colon m input file dot txt, and then create an output file path output file.txt, and then we'll declare try catch block here and we'll use a try with resources again. Inside here we'll type in BufferedReader equals to new BufferedReader, and then we'll type in new FileReader and then the path of the input file path. We'll also create a writer here. I'll type in BufferedWriter writer equals to new BufferedWriter new FileWriter, and then output file path. Inside here I'll declare a new string line variable and then create a while loop. Now I'll type in line equal to reader.readLine, which reads the document in a line by line fashion, and then put it not equal to null. We'll also need to make it small. And here I'll type in writer.write and then the line that we are reading from the first document, then writer dot new line that creates a new line. After that I'll simply print out file copied completed. Now if I run this program, this would copy all the content from input file into our output file. So now let's run this and go back to our ctemp directory. And you can see in the output file, it copied out everything that was there in our input file. Now this is the difference between buffered reader and input reader. Buffered reader can read the document from line to line, whereas our input reader doesn't. This helps in making the program more responsive and better performant when you need to do small reads on the file again and again. Before ending this video, let's look at a few key differences between a file stream and buffer stream. A file stream reads data from a file as a stream of bytes, whereas a buffered stream wraps another input stream such as file input stream. A file stream has inferior performance than a buffered stream since it doesn't do buffered reading, whereas a buffered stream does. Buffered reading refers to the practice of reading data from a source such as file, input stream, or network socket, in larger buffered chunks rather than individual bytes or characters. It involves using a buffer, a temporary storage area, to store a portion of the data read from the source before processing it. File stream is usually used for reading binary data or when precise control over reading operation is required, whereas buffer stream is suitable for scenarios where frequent small reads are needed. As always, we'll end this video with a quote that says, "Everything you have ever wanted is sitting on the other side of fear." Thank you for watching and have a great day.